All right. What's up, everybody? Happy New Year to those of you who live east of me. But for those of you in the States, we still got a couple more hours in good old 2024. And I thought, well, my younger, crazier partying days are, you know, mostly in the past. So I was like, well, it's Tuesday, so let's have a good stream. So today I wanted to basically talk about kind of the whole year. Like, I think this year has actually told a very, very interesting story in Flesh and Blood. We've seen a lot of progress from the company, from the game design. We've seen the organized play really flesh out, you know, its pattern. And, everything's looking pretty solid. The next set is very hype, especially for us Warrior stands. The Hunted does seem to be a pretty juiced set. Um, the card guys do have a spoiler, so watch out for that in a couple weeks' time. But yeah, I kind of just wanted to chit chat with you guys, kind of turn the camera on. This is going to be a much more interactive back and forth type of stream. Uh, so yeah, I'm happy that you guys are here joining me. Once we kind of wrap up the discussion, we'll play a couple games with good old aggro Dawnblade Dory. We're gonna use a list that my good friend Marcus Mock took to Worlds. He did very, very well with that. I've had some requests to play that list, so I'll take it out for a couple spins. Um, in terms of the calendar coming up, 2025, we have a couple things going on at TheCardGuyz. So we are going to try to stream every single day if we can. We have 6 people on the team. Probably all the weekdays, and the weekends sometimes there's events, so we're gonna try to sort out a schedule, but there will be content that you guys can enjoy. Speaking of content, yesterday you might have got a notification for a very, very unusual video. If you want to check that out, that is on the channel. We played 5 Hearts Under One Roof, the Korean Dark Souls of dating simulators. So it's a bunch of us just kind of messing around. It's good fun. So yeah, let's catch up a little bit with chat, and then we'll kind of start our discussion on why I thought this was a pretty good year for Warriors. The title is admittedly a little clickbaity. My team manager did write that up, so I'm gonna try to go with it. But I think a lot of you are like, hold on, guys, hold on, wait. What do you mean this is the year of the Warrior? There was like 10 people playing it at Worlds. Well, I'll go through my thought process and we'll get there. All right, so let's see. Axes, Dory, Kasai were very real. I agree. Dual wielding warrior was and is still quite decent, especially in those fair matchups. I could tell you that because when I did my Scarf for Scarf challenge at Calling Chicago, which, by the way, Chicago was a great experience. I got to play in the History of Draft event, and that was really something. I had a great time. But I was accepting challenges for a Scarf for Scarf promo, and I had 10 of them to give away. And of course, I did end up losing 10 games as Olympia, but I mostly lost to Wizards and Illusionists. I lost to Kano several times. I lost to Avernance. I lost to Enigma, to Prism. But in the fair matchups, Olympia, which is considered one of the weakest heroes in the game right now, actually did pretty well. So dual wield warrior in the correct metagame, I think, is actually quite good. And post book ban, the power level has been decreased. And one of the most annoying decks in the format for us, Enigma, we're getting Jagged Edge next set. And Jagged Edge says target weapon. And dual wielding, being able to place the attack reaction on the first or the second is really, really key. So I think dual wield warrior could be a real threat in the future. So Please make Olympia good. Well, it's not up to me. It is up to LSS to make Olympia good. But if there is an Olympia Armory deck, that would definitely go a long way. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everybody. Yes, yes. Let's just hope Fang actually feels like a warrior. If he's weapon based, I think he's going to be kind of like a little bit like Boltyn, but kind of a different flavor. So my guess is that he's going to be attack action based a little bit. So that's his draconic side. And then his warrior side would be setting up stances and having the fealty tokens and then coming in with a bunch of dagger attacks. I'm interested to see how they incorporate the royal talent, because people often think of talents as like light, shadow, earth, ice, lightning, and draconic. But royal is actually another talent. And we've seen a couple of cards from Dynasty that did say if you are royal, instead do something. The most famous card was Tome of the Imperial Flame, right? So hopefully we have some royal payoff for him, and he'll be interesting. Will Provoke be enough to bring Boltyn up? I don't think Provoke is really playable in Boltyn. And actually that's something we will talk about. We've actually seen Boltyn kind of heading down and down and down and down and down in the last couple months, and I think I might have like a little bit of a controversial opinion on this, but I think it's because people are straying away from, they're building their decks incorrectly in two ways. The first is adding non-light cards to the Raiden style deck. I know a lot of people like Sink Below and E-Strike in their Boltyn list. Flame Dog. I think if you're a Boltyn stan, you probably have played his list. I think Flame Dog is an amazing player, and I've met him. He's a great guy. I really, really don't like E-Strike and Sink Below in Boltyn. Because when you draw them with a V-turn, it makes it clunky. When you reveal it off Illumina, that's 2 value missed. And with Saving Grace, and I just don't think there's room if you build your deck in the correct way, which I think incorporates Raiden and the Sabers. So we've seen people move away from the Saber combo, and there is a reason for that, because LSS has consistently printed cards that are very good against the Saber combo. But I think pulling back from the Saber combo actually hurts Boltyn's win rate overall, because the Raiden deck is really, really fair. Like, if you play Raiden Boltyn against Viserai, you're gonna get that feeling like his deck is just so much more consistent, powerful, split damage, resistant, has great armor, and you're just gonna feel like you're fighting with one hand tied behind your back. So I do think the reason we're seeing Boltyn's win rate on Talishar hovering around 40% is because of those two things. So, but we'll talk about that a little bit more. 2024 certainly was one of the years for Warriors. Wow. I think people have a little bit of a short-term memory. The first half of the year was actually very, very good for Warriors until MST came along. Marcus Brown, hey, I'm here on time for the stream. Good job. Hey, you made it on time for one stream out of the year. Good enough. Lieutenant Random says, howdy, hey, yo, Josh. Belated Merry Christmas and early Happy New Year from the East Coast. Thanks for joining the stream. Sorry, I'm late, gamers. Nah, you're just in time. We haven't really started. Here's to hoping Feg is a big spice and the Doomsayers are wrong. So we've seen a consistent trend this year. Now, when Heavy Hitters came out, we saw KO, Dual Wield Warrior, Victor, become, very strong metagame contenders. When MST came out, cracked set. We saw Enigma, I almost said Phi, Zen, and New do really well. And with Rosetta coming out, yes, Astilio and Verdant's not really doing anything. But Aurora, arguably S tier, but definitely A tier. And Florian, his win rate is very good. I'm wondering why he hasn't really converting events. So, it's very likely that the Hunted will push Assassin, Ninja, and Warrior up several notches. And to be frank, all three classes really need this bump. Katsu and Phi could definitely use some help. Every single assassin not named New needs help. And, well, Warriors, like I said, there's like 10 of us that played it at Worlds, so could also use some help. They are focusing on Raiden. That is correct. That is a design choice. And people generally play with the tools that they're given, right? So LSS keeps on printing Raiden card. And so people are like, well, I guess I have to use Halo of Helm's Grace and Saving Grace in my deck. And I have, so they haven't printed any Saber's help in a while, but I still think it's quite good. And there's also that other build that involves Unsheathed and the Quicksilver and all that. So I think that one's also decent. I follow your list with very minor adjustments and it works wonderfully. Are you talking about Boltyn or Dory or Olympia? Which one are you talking about? I think people just prefer the aggro playstyle of Aurora over Florian. I kind of get it, but I enjoy being patient and working up my way to a critical massive rune chance with him. Yeah, I mean, there was an LL deck that used like Scalata, and that was also quite interesting. Yeah, assassins and ninjas will need the bump most when most will finish. So, assassins was a class that got introduced late, kind of like illusionist. So, they're a class with just generally less cards than the others. I'd love to see more two-handed support cards that strictly state two-handed weapon. I can't think of very many off the top of my head. Shatter. And what? What specifies target two-handed weapon? Actually, a Faith Fang will be a very good warrior. You can screen cap me if you want, chat. All right, Marcus Brown. If Fang is not at least B+ tier, we're gonna come find you. Oh, for Boltyn, okay, sure. Yeah, I did post some Boltyn content, so that's a good start there. All right, so we've kind of caught up in chat. So let's begin our journey through 2024. Okay, so I'm going to primarily talk about 4 events. Now, there were many events. There were different skirmish seasons. There were different ProQuest, RTN seasons. But the defining 4 events in terms of like, well, just by size, we have Pro Tour Los Angeles. That was in late March. We had Pro Tour Amsterdam. That was in July after the national season. Or that might have been August. I don't know. Late July. And then we had the World Championship in Osaka, which was in November. And then I'm also going to add the U.S. National Championship because that was when we first saw just how good Zen would be. So these 4 events are kind of what we're going to take a look at. And we'll kind of go in chronological order, obviously. Now, in terms of product releases, there was Heavy Hitters, Part the Mistveil, and Rosetta. And for us Warrior fans, there was also the Boltyn Armory deck. Now, Rosetta literally did not have anything other than Unsheathed. Part the Mistveil had Blanche and weakest link, I guess. But not much help there. So a lot of our focus is going to be on heavy hitters, right? Now, heavy hitters did have a lot of draft shaft, right? We're not seeing cut the deck in our decks. We're not playing engaged Swiftblade in our warrior decks. But there were a lot of important pieces. A lot of them you can find on my wall. There's Blade Flurry is there. Shift the Title Battle was there. Grains of Blood Spill was there. Many, many, many defining cards from that set. So let's just go over here. Let's see if I did this right. Okay, we'll come back to this page. But as you can see, the current state of Warriors is I mean, Boltyn, like I said, I think people are just not building him correctly now, and he's also a hard deck to play. Like, Boltyn is not as easy to play as it looks like. Dual wield warriors are doing fine, like I said, other than illusionists and wizards. Like I said, if there's a fair fight, and I'm going to include the Rune Blades as unfair because they are mixed damage, and Kasai's not very good against mixed damage. As long as we don't come up against like that, Kasai's actually fine. And we see Dorinthia performing the best. Obviously, Dorinthia, if she doesn't meet... I think the worst three matchups are probably Enigma, Ira, Florian, I would say, at the moment. So if Dorinthia doesn't come across Enigma, Ira, or Florian, I think she's actually pretty fine. I'm actually very surprised to see her win rate against Ira this high. I feel like a more defensive Ira with enough knowledge is going to destroy a Dorinthia. Could be that a lot of people just do not have experience in this matchup, because this is a... I've played a lot of Dorinthia versus Ira, and almost all of it was from Blitz, right? So it's possible that a lot of people just don't know that matchup. But yeah, that's not... This is... we'll kind of get back to this later. All right, so I have 4 tabs up here. I have the Los Angeles live blog, the U.S. National Championship live blog, the Pro Tour Amsterdam live blog, and the Osaka live blog. So let's start back at Pro Tour Los Angeles. So Pro Tour Los Angeles was... Now, we could kind of define the event by what set we are drafting, right? So Pro Tour at Los Angeles, we were drafting heavy hitters. So this was basically after the heavy hitters set came out. And just to refresh people's memory, because, you know, it has been a while. You know, one of the interesting things is getting to play that history of draft event is I got to draft heavy hitters. I got to remember what this set was like. So let's take a look at some of the important cards. Like I said, Blade Flurry, this card was way up there. Like, I think this is one of the cards that literally is on like the most sold list of 2024. Like, if you play Warrior, you need a set of Blade Flurry. Like, I have a Japanese set of Blade Flurry and an English set of Blade Flurry. That's how many Blade Flurries I need in my decks. Shift the Tide of Battle, another card that I think is just going to continue to get better. This card I think is kind of just waiting for the right maybe not the right deck, but like the right metagame for this to be good. I still think this card's not bad. We have Up the Ante and Raise an Army. These are staples in their respective deck. Commanding Performance. This is a card that we were kind of neutral on, but it's not a bad card by any stretch. We have a lot of cards that basically don't see play. Cut the Deck and Fatal Engagement. So one of the issues with designing for limited is you look at all these 2 blocks. So all the commons are 2 blocks, all the rares are 3 blocks, right? This card does not see any play. Fatal Engagement only sees play in the blue version, right? Take the Upper Hand is a staple of wager decks, so that's fine. But I actually, to be critical, this is a kind of a miss on in terms of a design. I mean, it's fine for limited because it supports Kasai's thing a little bit. It's basically a 0 cost in a Kasai deck. But they all stipulate it has to be defending. Like these are all cards that like have a stipulation to them, right? These two it has to be defended by an attack action card. This one you have to wager, right? So in terms of other cards, Agile Engagement does see occasional play as like a one of for tutoring. Draw Swords, you see that in some Kasai builds. Edge Ahead and Hold'em are staples in the Olympia deck. And good old Goblet. This is a card that I think even Boltyn at some times was running this card. It's quite a strong card. Okay. Now, a lot of the other cards are these like split cards, runner. I played this in my Pro Tour LA deck. 6 power, 3 block. There aren't a lot of them in the game. For Dorinthia at least. Take It on the Chin, another card alongside Goblet and Blade Flurry that are like two of the best or some of the best cards in the set. And you could tell LSS kind of knew this because there is a promo version of this card, right? There's the extended art with all the abs version that was given out at the armories, and same with Goblet. There was a Goblet extended art for the LGS, right? So I think LSS knew that those two cards were a little bit higher power level than the others. But yeah, in terms of split cards, Agile Windup sometimes saw play in the blue slot. Occasionally you would see Wage Agility as a 7 power popper against Prism. Lead with Speed, this is another card that, at least for Dorinthia, has started to see a little bit more play. Synergizes with a lot of things, especially if you're on the style that's using Unsheathed and Iron Song Determination and stuff like that. This card combines decently well with that. The only issue is that it's a 2 block. Slap Happy, this was a card that I used a little bit in Boltyn. Again, this is part of the reason I keep on saying, like, hey, you shouldn't have too many non-light cards. This kind of got clunky. All right. One of the big cards of the set was Balance of Justice. This was the gold foil for winning a calling for quite a while. This card basically saw a ton of play when KO was around. And yep, Nasty Surprise. This was used once in a while against Victor. Ripple Away. This is still one of the best cards that you could have in your blue base, at least for dual wielding or for Dawnblade, because this used to counter KO's ability. This also counters some Enigma play lines as well. Standing Order. This is a card that was occasionally used in the more fatiguing style of Warrior. So I believe this was after Dromai LL'd. There was a small period of time where Great Axe Dory, Great Axe Boltyn, Great Axe Olympia was a thing, and they were all using this card. Tenacity. This is a card that was seeing a lot of play in Boltyn. This is at least a yellow card, but again, I really think you're not losing a lot of edge, but you're losing a couple percentage points over a large sample size when you run a deck with non-light cards. All right. And then down into here, sometimes you would see Money Where Your Mouth Is in wagering decks. Okay, So that is an overview of the set, right? Those are the important cards from the set, right? And yeah, Pro Tour LA. This was where I got a top 8, which was pretty cool. The storyline going into Pro Tour LA was that, okay, Dromai and KO were the big dogs. And secretly, a lot of people were working on Hatchet Dory. I did not know that. I think, let's see if we could find a metagame breakdown. Is that, nope, that's a calling. Metagame breakdown. Well, this is the day 2 metagame breakdown. Okay, here we go. So Dromai was 12%, KO was 11, and we saw Katsu. This was before they had Bond. No. They had bonds at this point. So Katsu was basically trying to target Dromai. Dromai was considered one of the best decks in the format. And then we had 11% registering Dorinthia, which is 29 people. Now, I was very, very, very caught off guard by this amount. That, hold on, is Dory the third most... Oh, this is a pretty cool photo. Is Dory the third most represented deck? I was very surprised. Right here. No, this is the calling. We're gonna get there. Hold on, guys. Jeez, this is a really, really involved man. All right. How do you see page up, page down? Okay, here we go. Okay, so literally the third most represented deck, and I was like, wait, what? I was completely surprised. In fact, I didn't even get onto the deck until like 2 weeks before the event. I was playing Dawnblade Dory, and I was playing Boltyn back then. This was before the Armory deck, right? KO did not have Savage Sash in this metagame. Boltyn didn't have any of his Armory deck tools. Azalea didn't have any of her tools. But yeah, the story of that tournament was KO and Dromai were kind of the expected ones. We knew Victor was good. We knew Azalea was good. We had, Boost Dash trying to take advantage of the Dromai matchup because you could, shoot down all the Ash Wings. We had Katsu that was also, kadaching the Ash Wings. We had Levia there because you could break the Dragons of the Phantasm, and Kano just does Kano things, right? Against a pure red deck, right? So these KO and Dromai were considered like S tier. Victor and Azalea were considered like A tier. And then right here, these heroes here were trying to target Dromai. Not really Kasai, but these 4 heroes here were trying to target Dromai. Right? And then, oh, lo and behold, a bunch of Dorinthias show up. And I'm like, okay, that's very, very weird. And then round 2, round 3, I start, talking with people, and they're like, hey, Josh, there's a lot of Hatchet Dorinthia going around. I'm like, what? And, so the rest is kind of history there. Hatchet Dory was definitely the breakout hero deck of the tournament. And for those of you who know your history lesson, put 2 of us into the top 8. So unfortunately, we had to play in the quarterfinals, but it is what it is. But this was the tournament where, because Arthur won with Dromai, this basically kicked Dromai basically to LL. I don't know if she crossed it, but she got really close, I think, to LLing, and she basically left. And interestingly enough, Dromai is the only hero that LL this year, if you don't count the Blitz heroes. So we've actually have quite a bit of, what do they call it, hero bloat going around right now. So okay, so that's what happened there. For those of you who kind of kept up with what I was doing this year, right after LA, I went back to Hong Kong. I was in Phuket for a little bit for the calling there, and we saw a little bit of evolution in the hatchet build. I started running route and singing steel blade and stuff like that. But the next major moment was the release of Part the Misveil. Now, to say that this set changed everything for the year is an understatement. Okay. Those of you guys who have been playing Flesh and Blood for years will recall back in Crucible of War, Dorinthia was really, really good. She was queen of CC, excellent in Blitz. Monarch came out, Chain, Prism, absolutely cracked. They had to ban several things from Chain. Chain still ended up winning Pro Tour 1, even though Starvo was around. But 2022 and 2023 were relatively quiet for Warriors. Reason being, so this is old Grandpa Josh here going to tell you a little quick story. Why was Warriors suppressed in the past? Prism, Oldham were two of the main reasons. The power level of certain decks was just ridiculously high, like Alexi. And it's actually taken a while for the metagame to line up correctly, right? I think in Pro Tour 1, Pro Tour 2, World Championship, San Jose, there were no Warriors on the top 8. Pro Tour 3 was Lexi Oldham meta. There were definitely no Warriors in the top 8 there. World Championship, Barcelona. I don't recall there being any Warriors. Yuto did get very close. I think he was 9th or 10th, and he was playing Dorinthia. So literally Pro Tour LA, Max and I, literally the very first people to top 8 a tier 4 event with a Warrior. So by comparison, 2024 was the year of the Warrior, because 2022 they didn't do anything, 2023 they didn't do anything. So the last time that Warrior was great was in 2021, before April 2021, because April 2021 is when Monarch came out. Okay, I've been kind of ranting for a while. Let's see if we can catch up with chat a little bit, and then I'll tell you the next chapter of the story, which is the Misveil story part. So we finished chapter 1, guys. Okay, it's actually only Shatter. That's what I thought. I know my Warrior cards. I'm really hoping Flamescale Furnace is good for Fang. I'm not exactly sure how they would get that to be good with him, but yeah, that would be good. Dory versus Ira might be people still playing hatchets on Talishar. So yeah, I mean, some of this win rate actually might be people playing Hatchet Dory instead of Dawnblade Dory, but I mean, Hatchet Dory is favored into Ira, in my opinion. You basically negate Mask of Momentum, and then you're playing the exact same game as them, except with bigger weapons. Yeah. I mean, if Kasai could sit at 50% win rate, I mean, dual wield Dory should be even better. I have a set of Japanese, German, and English Blade Flurries. Well, there you go. You got to have a little bit of everything. Cut the Deck introduces our next Warrior Miscue. Yes, the flavor text on that one. I wish Draw Swords costed 1 or 2 less. If it costed 1 or 2 less, it'd actually be probably overpowered. I think if Draw Swords cost 2, that's even too good. And it creates some variance, because it's like, okay, if you don't draw blue to replace it, it could potentially mess up your turn. But if you have a high enough blue count, that's just like getting a tunic counter. Yeah. I should have picked up Blade Flurries when it was $15. I mean, what is it now? 20? It's actually probably gone up, right? Because of the hunted, right? I love playing Dorinthia Hatchet so much, Josh. Well, I mean, it's a good deck, so it's also one of the decks that teaches you fundamentals. So yeah. All right. We caught up with chat. All right. Part 2. This is in the middle of the year. So this was Minneapolis for the or your national championship. And this is where we figured out that Zen is very, very good. And Aaron and Will, a quarter of the of the top 8 was TheCardGuyz. It's pretty cool. Even though Aaron wasn't on the team at that time. But yeah, so this metagame was defined by Zen being absolutely busted. This was the funnily enough, when we had the show match with Blue Pitch and Pudding showed off his Bonds of Ancestry Zen list, I think many months later, Brian Gottlieb said that was the first time he went like, uh-oh. So, you know, sometimes we break things at a show match, which is kind of interesting. So, Bonds of Ancestry Zen, if you are a competitive player, which I presume most of you watching my stream are competitive players, Zen ran the show, right? And Zen was extremely difficult to stop. The only decks that were somewhat decent into him were Victor and Azalea. And part of the balancing of this format back in the middle of the year was Enigma was really good. And it only had one bad matchup. But that one bad matchup was so prominent that it kept Enigma from converting very, very well. So, as you can see, Evan Herndon won US Nats. And, yeah, we saw Azalea winning the calling. Shout out to my brother getting top 4 with Prism. Pretty cool. For those of you who enjoy some Prism content, we will be having a to Z episode with him sometime soon. So yeah, this is the Battle Hardened. So the Battle Hardened in Minneapolis was actually kind of interesting because people saw how broken Zen was on Friday and Saturday. And then more people were registering that ultra zoomer, ultra zoomer Zen. So there was a very, very high representation of Zen. And kind of like in draft, New was considered to be, you know, not favored, but decent into Zen. One of the best matchups of the year that Nathan and I actually got to commentate was the grand finals of the Hong Kong Nationals, where we saw Xing Tseng piloting New beat a Zen in the grand finals. And that was one of the best games that I've seen this year. So New, a hero that, you know, did have some play into Zen, but did have issues dealing with decks like Azalea and Enigma, and, you know, all these other decks are not really, really great for her. Now, let's see if I can find the breakdown. Here we go. Metagame breakdown. So, of note, so back here, we went from oh, that's the calling. Sorry. We're going to get there. Okay. We went from third most played deck, putting 2 into the top 8, down to you know, not even if you add them up, they wouldn't even be on the second line here, right? So how did that happen? Well, Zen was extremely strong, and as we know, Warriors do not really have disruption. I mean, Provoke is now some disruption, so there's that. Enigma, one of the hardest matchups in the game. It took me a very long time to actually figure out how to beat a good Enigma. And the secret sauce there was to run 3 overpower 3 route. There is another way to deal with them. We will talk about that when we play some Dombly Dory games. But all these matchups really, really, really difficult. New, also not the easiest for Dombly Dory. Decent for Hatchet Dory. I did play against 2 news at US Nats, and I was, it was pretty smooth for both of them. But we basically see a cratering of the dual wield warriors. We see Kasai at 4. Kasai was the winner or finalist of the winner of the calling in Los Angeles. So we have never seen a deck go from so high to so low in the matter of a month, 2 months. And obviously for the people here that are in the stream are Warrior fans. That was obviously extremely difficult to deal with. And those are very trying and testing times. And this is actually the time I got the most questions. Hey, Josh, are you going to play anything different at Nats? Right? I said, no. I'm going to play Warrior until basically I die. So it is what it is, right? So we saw Part the Misfail, a very, 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 very tough situation for us, right? And that lasted for that whole season. Now, there was several BNRs targeting Zen. So they banned the yellow and blue bonds, and that wasn't enough, so they had to get rid of the red ones. And then we had the massive book burning, right? Which basically erased Art of War Zen, or Art of War from the game. We had Kano getting a huge hit, Prism getting a huge hit. I still think Prism's actually quite good, but Prism's very, very linear and now has very polarized matchups. Also affecting Dash a little bit as well. Well, that's the next BNR, but yeah. So we saw a massive book burning. Now, of note, look down here. We have Viscera at 6. Okay, one of the if not the best deck at the moment is Viscera, and all it takes is one set for the pendulum to swing completely. So for those of you who are thinking, yeah, 2024 it could have been better for Warrior, I agree, but heavy hitters and that metagame was a bright moment for us Warrior stands. Okay. And I have hope that the Hunted will help us a lot as well. Okay, so that was kind of chapter 2. Okay. Now, I should say chapter 2A. Chapter 2B was Pro Tour Amsterdam, because this is more Zen's domination, as we can see, but we saw Shoma with his unique Uzuri deck do very, very well. Now, this is unfortunately the first Tier 4 event that I missed. I have been to, as you can see, Pro Tour 1, 2, and 3, the World Championship 1, World Championship 2. I've been to World Championship 3. But the stars just didn't quite line up. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it. I really do love this city. I've been to Amsterdam many, many times. But yeah, we saw Zen do very, very well. I think converted extremely well. Zen won the calling there. And this is the period of time when people were kind of talking about gem luck, because I think even Nathan did a stream on this. There was a lot of polarized matchups. In fact, this might have been the era of Flesh and Blood where you had the most polarizing matchups, right? Like Zen didn't want to see New. New didn't want to see Enigma. Warriors didn't want to see Enigma, right? Prism didn't want to see a Guardian. after the book burning, right? So there were a lot of really polarizing matchups. Kano, chief among them, probably. And this is where this is kind of like the turning point for the year, right? Because there was a lot of complaints. This was also during the skirmish season, I believe was about this time, where Zen basically LL'd in Blitz in like 2 weeks, I think. So LSS did take a step back. They really reflected on this moment. And if I'm getting my timeline correct, this is when they said, hey, we're aware of the situation and we're working on a fix for it. And this is when we had the great book burning. Let's see if we can find this. I want to make sure I get my I want to make sure I get my timeline correct. Was it this one? Yeah, here we go. Okay, so September 4th, right? So US Nationals was in June. Yep, June, mid-June. Okay. Pro Tour Amsterdam was late July. And then August, I believe, was the skirmish season. So they came out with this BNR. This is probably the this might be the most influential BNR that we've ever had. Now, let's go back to this other scene. If you guys look at the top right, I don't know if you're on a mobile, it might be a little bit hard to see. You're going to have to pinch zoom or whatever. But it says, a game of Flesh and Blood is intended to be won from incremental advantages gained through the accumulation of many good decisions. And where did that quote come from? Came from right here. Now, the game was kind of in the late summer. The game was spiraling out of control a little bit. We were getting very, very polarized matchups. We were getting offensive overlap, I think it's the term that they used. There was a brewing storm that needed to be addressed, and they addressed it with this. And this was one of the most important BNR. I think this was right before Tampa. I think we even had like an emergency stream because of this, right? The gravity of this BNR cannot be understated, right? And I think it's actually good just to quickly review this, because this BNR gave me confidence in their design team. It gave me I already had a lot of confidence in James White, we trust, right? But them saying, hey, we have some design principles and we've kind of strayed from them. Let's get back to them. Start full. As you guys know, in many card games, you start from nothing and build up. In Flesh and Blood, you start with your full power. And as the game goes on, your equipment gets broken, your deck density gets weaker, your health gets lower, so you can't make as many pivot plays. So that's the statement. Reducing variance. Now, variance is actually kind of interesting. It actually says right here, not all variance is bad, and that's true. There needs to be some variance, but the way that they approach that, yeah, they say loss of agency. Here we go. And variance actually I think actually some of the things that they're talking about here is actually like matchup variance. Matchup variance is actually very huge. It still is very huge. Like at Worlds, if I don't run into 2 Enigmas, maybe I do much better, right? But it is what it is. Every card counting is very important. This is actually something that this was actually one of the very, very first design principles that I was encountered with. So when I started playing Flesh and Blood, Drone of Brutality was legal. And the very first BNR that I ever read from LSS was the Drone of Brutality ban. Let's see if I can find that. Let's take a. This is a what's it called? A nostalgia stream anyway. Let's see if I can find that one. 2021 March. This is probably this one right here. Ah, yes. Right here. So I started playing the game very end of 2020. April 2021 was when Monarch came out. So I was playing Blitz quite a bit, and Drone of Brutality was in those Ira decks because they could infinitely block. In fact, ironically, it wasn't very good against Dory, but the drones were very good in the Ira mirror. So I've played thousands of games, like gem games. I have 3 ties in thousands of games, and one of them was not a tie due to time, but a tie due to I was playing an Ira mirror, and we both ended with drones, and we couldn't progress the game. So coming back here, every card counting. This is something that they right here. Look at this. March 18th, 2021, they said, Drone of Brutality is undermining the core design tenet of every card counts. This core design tenet probably is printed somewhere at LSS headquarters. That way, there doesn't need to be book burning too. Electric Boogaloo. So, yeah. This is the final one. And you see James actually writes the most here. Rewarding good decisions, not luck. And the summary is here. Right? Now, I know a lot of people, they do like to see, the flashy plays. But a lot of the time, there's a lot of beauty in seeing small advantages build up to a critical moment. And yeah, I think a lot of us, especially us warrior players, probably really do enjoy that type of gameplay. We are not really playing with overpowered cards. We are not, other than the saber combo, we're not just like one-shotting people. We're making the correct decisions again and again and again. And we gain that life buffer that we need to drop really low, keep a full grip, apply pressure, make them overblock, blow them out with a twinning blade, something like that. So that really is the core, right? When you win games as a warrior, you made the right decision again and again and again, or your opponent made the wrong decision several times, right? And when both players play really, really well and correctly, I always feel like that's really a really beautiful thing, because assuming that we're both kind of fair decks, some of my most memorable games have been games where we're both relatively fair and balanced, and we have a longish back and forth, and it's it's a really, really beautiful thing. All right, so there's a lot of text here, but Bonds of Ancestry, even Cash got banned. Oh. One day they will print Warrior Cash in, hopefully. Tome, Orion, Divinity, Fandel, Aetherwind. A lot of things got banned. All right. So that's the timeline, right? So US Nats, Zen is busted. Pro Tour Amsterdam, Zen is busted, but an underdog can win. All right. We're getting too much offensive overlap. BNR. And what does that do? That takes us into Osaka, which is chapter 3. Obviously, there was, a couple armory decks along the way. There was Azalea and Dash, and those obviously had a huge impact. Yep. I think it's like $40 Canadian. Oh boy. That is a lot of money for a Blade Flurry. But is part of that because the Canadian dollar is not doing that well? I don't know if I missed it, but do you mind at all going over how Warrior's doing in the current meta at some point tonight? Oh yeah, we're gonna get there. We're gonna talk about Osaka, and then we're gonna talk about the state of the Warriors, and then we're gonna play some games. That's kind of our game plan tonight. Um, okay, so Osaka. This is chapter 3 of the year, right? So going into Osaka, this is after the release of Rosetta. Okay, so Rosetta. There's not any relevant word cards other than Unsheathed, so I'm not really going to talk about this set too much, but we saw Aurora become a big player. We saw some of the most broken Majestics I've ever seen. Like, Felling and Plow Under are just ridiculous value. And we saw some really, really cool lightning cards that Ocilio could use pretty cool, especially Gone in Flash. We saw Aurora utilizing a lot of these cards as well. But a lot of the changes came in the regular Runeblade stuff. So Face Purgatory, Succumb, Machinations, Haunting Rendition has seen some play now. Malefic Incantation, one of the most influential cards. We have even things like Rune Rager Swarm. This card, really, really key. Arcane costing Deadwood Dirge, also huge. And I want to say, I think the Hunted will have a similar effect because I believe a lot of the set is not going to be Draconic Warrior or Draconic Ninja or Chaos Assassin. I think a good portion of the set is going to be Vanilla Warrior, Vanilla Ninja, Vanilla Assassin, so it can plug and play into many different decks. And we've seen some evidence of that because these Majestics are not Draconic Warrior Majestics. Now, we do have one here. But Jagged Edge and Provoke are not Draconic Warrior. They're not Royal Warrior. They're not Draconic Royal Warrior. So, yeah. I think there is a very, very high chance that Warrior gets something similar to Succumb, which we already got. Something like Malefic that holds the deck together. Something like Rune Rager Swarm that, again, is glue. These two cards here are glue for the Viserai deck, right? Now, obviously, Aurora isn't really running these cards, but Aurora really had the base from Briar. That's the thing. So it's not really she didn't really need the Runeblade cards, but these Runeblade cards were very, very influential. And I remember I talked with one of my friends, and he was like, I was like, so how much of your deck is like new stuff? He's like, almost all of it. All right, let's look for some Viserai decks here. I guess we'll look at this one. Deadwood Dirge, new. Hocus Pocus, new. 2 colors of Malefic, new. Rune Rager's Form, 2 colors. A card is good when you play the yellow version, right? Succumb, new. Snuff Out, new. Machinations, that's also new. Not to mention, they got one of the best helmets in the game. And Poor Old Warrior. Poor Old Warrior. Oh man, let's make the joke here. All right, guys. when I click search, how many things are going to come up? I made a new Dorinthia deck. I selected equipment. I selected head. I'm going to press search. How many things are going to come up, guys? 5? 10? What happens if I do this? I specify warrior. I mean, I don't want generics. How many's going to come up, guys? Warrior equipment headpiece that Dorinthia can play. 1, 3. It's 1. It's 1. Okay? And so I remember I made the joke. I was like, so we get Helm of the Sharp Eye, and Runeblade gets Face Purgatory. Great. So yeah. And you know, the funny thing is if you go here, equipment, head, we say, okay, well, it can be a generic. Why not? Okay. Skullcap, you might play that. Balance of Justice, you might play that. Crown, you're probably not playing that. Crown of Providence, you might play. The rest, you aren't going to play. Back in the day, we used to play this, though. You're a real OG if you played Hope Merchant's Hood in your Dory deck. Oh, my God. And obviously, Nullrune Hood, sometimes he'd play, right? But the rest, unusable. So we've been basically forced to use generic helmets for a long, long time. And Runeblade got Face Purgatory. Is what it is. But as my main point is that Viserai went from, I think it was literally like 4? 1. 1 in the calling. 624 players, 1 Viserai. Okay? To now, at the World Championship, I mean, we have 2 Runeblades in the top, right? 1 set can change everything, right? And we've seen every single set this year be influential. So for those of you a little bit down and depressed about the state of Warrior right now, I'm telling you, very, very likely things are going to turn around in the Hunted. And we've already seen that they are aware of what Warrior is lacking, right? This card is extremely important to have. This card is also extremely important to have. Prior to this, Warrior did not have this effect and did not have disruption. And they printed 2 cards that really juiced it up. Same thing with Warcrab Bellana. This is a card that just we needed more of. We needed more yellow light 3 blocks that are good. We're one step closer to a Pure Prayer Bellana deck, right? So from what I've seen already, and from how they've designed these 3 sets this year, I think we're in a good spot going forward. All right, Osaka. Let's talk about Osaka, and then we'll talk about the current state of Warriors. So Osaka, going into it, Dash.io, really the boogeyman. Obviously, Aurora, Viserai, also way up there. Enigma, now that, you know, Zen kind of took a little bit of a backseat, also there. We saw New also being just being good. Fun fact, New is actually playable in LL. And she doesn't really have any cards that are banned either. So I guess Orihan is the only one. But like, New is actually really, really strong. So, I mean, this metagame breakdown tells you everything you need to know, right? This is for the CC event, but it's still very, very similar, right? We have Runeblades. We have some specialized decks. So we have an Illusionist, we have an Assassin, and everything kind of falls in behind it, right? 8 Dorys, 3 Boltyns, 2 Kasais, and an Olympia. again, you add them up 11, 12, 13, 14. You add up all the warriors, they'd come in right here. So it's not very high. So Story of Worlds, Enigma good, Runeblaze good, CYB good. That's actually something I forgot to talk about. How could I forget? There was a warrior card printed in this set. How could I forget? The most influential warrior card was this one. Oh my god. Count your blessings. Now, I took a CYB Domblade Jubil Dorinthia to Worlds. I worked quite hard on that list, and I thought that list was actually in a pretty good spot. Enigma, kind of a tough matchup. Ran into two of them. I didn't really respect New quite enough, and I also got punished for that too. But every Runeblade I played, they got fatigued because they were very surprised that I was running it. And I still think you could actually play that CYB style. The games are razor thin, but there's way less poison in the well, so it might even out. You're also less likely to draw hands with two of them, which could be good, could be bad, depending on whether you have your tunic or not. The only one that Dory could play plus the other two. Yep. One day we'll get a critical mass reactions to make Sharp Eye good. Not just Sharp Eye. This card. This card will also be good. Kasai and Olympia have their own for what it's worth. Nobody. Glee has God tier, but the red hood that Kasai has, she doesn't play that. Hooded Commoner goes crazy. Yes. I just picked up Kasai and she's so fun. Yes, I also agree. Kasai is quite fun. All the dual wield warriors are good fun. Yeah. I hope Olympia gets support. I think Olympia will get some support. All right, so yeah. Osaka was a great time. Glad to see Alan finally get a top 8. Good for him. Yeah. The story of Osaka was Rune Blades are good, CYB decks are good, and everybody had to bring in -IO hate. That was my sideboard was literally all by CYB's Chains of Evidence. So yeah. Okay, so that kind of wraps up the year, right? There was another BNR, right? Where was it? I mean, the BNR was that there was no BNR, right? This was Chicago, right? This one was right after Worlds. Yeah, okay, so High Octane and CYB got banned, and then there was another BNR that there was no ban, right? So High Octane. Now, I'm just gonna say it. I think all of these Arcade Rising, well, not just Arcane Rising, but I think every card here is on the watch list. Same with you know what? Can we do Arcane Rising and well, we'll look at WTR and then we'll look at Arcane Rising. Every one of these cards, that is, yep, Majestic, is on the watch list, right? Blood Rush Bellow. Ridiculous. I mean, Crippling Crush was restricted because of Starvo. I think the Warrior ones are safe, to be honest. E-Strike probably safe as well, but Toba Fendel now banned, right? Arcade Rising, even more offenders. Kind of like in Magic, right? You have the first couple sets were just the Power 9, right? High Octane, now banned. I mean, if you think about like the power cards, like Red in the Ledger, ridiculous. Three of a Kind was ridiculous. Endless Arrow was ridiculous. Knock the Death Whistle. This is how you start at 30 health on turn 0, right? This card, I also think is on the watch list. This card's actually ridiculous, but maybe Runeblade's needed. I don't know. Blazing Aether, ridiculous. Fork Lightning. They actually changed how this kind of works, right? Tome of Aetherwind. Now it's banned. Art of War. Now it's banned. Command and Conquer. Probably safe, but the first couple sets have a lot of cards that are on the watch list. And right after Worlds, High Octane was banned. So I think all of these first two set Majestics are on gotta watch them carefully. We'd play Hood if it blocked for 2. I think so as well. Chat, he said it. Kasai is fun. He likes Kasai. He does like Kasai. If Warrior ever gets a card banned, we were feasting. So this is actually a very fun exercise. Okay, chat. Can you tell me the 2 cards that I have registered that are now banned? Well, 3 cards. I generally do not register cards that get banned because I play fair and balanced decks. But let's see if you guys can guess. There are 3 cards that I've registered at a let's say tier 3 or tier 4 event that are now banned in a warrior deck. So I'll give you a hint because this is a really, really broad one. One of them was from Boltyn. Okay, there are actually 4. Are there 4 cards now? I've never registered Art of War, Big Hank. I've never registered Art of War in a tier 3 event. Cash-In is definitely one of them, yes. Poor Cash-In. Poor Olympia. Actually, I've never registered Cash-In in a tier 3 event. I've played Olympia at tier 2 events. I have not played Olympia in a tier 3 or tier 4 event. And I've never played Kasai in a tier 3 or tier 4 event. So actually Cash-In is not on the list, although you guys would think. Again, this is cards that I've registered for a tier 3 event and got banned. Tome of Divinity, good guess, but Tome is for Prism. Blue CYB, yes, you guys got that one. That one's correct. You guys got to go real far back. Okay, so this is a Boltyn card from 2021. You guys got to go real far back to guess this one. Drone? Nope, not Drone. I've never registered Drone of Brutality. I'm not a fatigue gamer. Tome of Fendel, another good guess, but Warriors don't make action points out of thin air, and we don't play Mage Master's Boots. I'll give you a hint. It says draw a card on it. And it was playable in Boltyn. Not Tome. Not Tome. E-Strike is not banned. Plunder Run. There you guys go. Good job. Yeah. I was about to go here and bring up all the cards that were banned. So here you guys go. This is the list, right? So Plunder Run was a card I used to run in Boltyn. Plunder Run from Arsenal was quite good. I guess we could go down the list. I've never registered Art of War. I don't play Guardian. I don't play Lightning Heroes. I probably should have been playing this in my Boltyn deck, but I didn't. I don't play Brute. I don't play Runeblade. I don't play Ninja. Cash-In is there. Counter Blessing is there. I didn't play this, didn't play this, didn't play this, didn't play this. No, no. Okay, so it's just plunder run and cash in and CYB. And cash in is not even, it doesn't really count because I didn't never actually register that in a tier 3 event. Okay, cool. I forgot what I was talking about, but that was a nice little side story there. Life of the party. I mean that's a special use promo, so I don't even think that is that's it. That's up here, isn't it? That's here, right? Maybe I'm getting this wrong. Is I guess it, okay. So this is a legal card in CC. Okay, today I learned. Okay. Okay, so now that we've kind of talked about the story for the year, let's talk about the state of each warrior right now, and then we'll go play some Dawnblade Dory games to wrap up the year. So let's start with Dory. So there's several builds for Dory. We have the hatchet build, we have the saber build, we have the decimator build, we have a pure Dawnblade build that is very aggressive, we have a Dawnblade build that is more mid-range, and we have the Dawnblade Jubil CYB deck. Many different styles of Dorinthia, and that's one of the benefits of playing Dorinthia is that there's actually many styles, right? Currently, the strongest style is probably the aggressive Dawnblade list. I think if you carefully pilot the Dawnblade Jubil deck, you're also good. And dual wield warrior, after it gets jagged edge, could be a force. So we'll see. Because now here's the thing: rune blades are also kind of hard for dual wield. So, we'll have to kind of see how the metagame evolves. Kasai, two primary builds. There's a more defensive Kasai list that has kind of fallen out of favor because it's just weak to Enigma. And then we have a more aggressive Kasai list that has a small chance of beating Enigma. And Kasai overall is fine. Obviously doesn't do well into Rune Blades, doesn't do well into Wizards, doesn't do well into Illusionists, but does fine into most things. If basically has the same matchup spread as Hatchet Dory. All right, Olympia. I don't know how he's at 40%, but apparently he is. There's the Saber build. That's my preferred build at the moment. There's that Hatchet build, which I think is very outdated. If you are still playing Hatchet Olympia, I highly, highly recommend you switch to Saber Olympia. And how I figured this out was when I played Spillblood and it wasn't in Dory, and I just went, oh, this card sucks. It's a 1 cost plus 4. It's a second swing. So yeah, I highly recommend you look at the Saber list. There's also a more fatiguing, controlling style. This was the one that was from the A to Z episode, utilizing Decimator Great Axe, a lot of attack actions, and up the ante to push certain on hits. Oh, I forgot to talk about the hidden Dorinthia build, the Bait Blade version. So this is the Dorinthia list that's using a lot of attack actions. That one's quite fun. Okay, finally we have, speaking of attack actions, we have Sir Boltyn. There are currently, I think, 3 styles. We have Pure Raiden, which is the most popular right now. We have hybrid lists that incorporate a Saber combo and a Raiden. And then we have a pure combo version that is running generics such as Glint, Blade Runner, Blade Flurry, Unsheathed, and then it's also running all of the stuff it needs for a saber combo. So you basically play like a dual wield warrior, you oops into your combo, you could just kill them, right? And I think that's actually a pretty solid way to play. I've taken that to several RTNs and PQs and have done well with that, but I've never actually registered that style at a tier 3, tier 4 event. So yeah, that's kind of the status of the different warriors. Hatchet Boltyn. I am not so aware of that style. There is a Great Axe style Boltyn, but that is also quite old, like 8 months old or so. Did you ever try Belittle in any warrior? I did not. When it really took off at Pro Tour 2, it got banned after. So I never really got to play with it in Boltyn. For Sabers, Olympia, is it 2 Sabers or Saber Hot Streak? I've been personally playing 2x Sabers. Let's go show you my list. Is this one? I think this is, yeah, this is my this is the list I currently use. So you basically run 2 Sabers, you run Courage versus Galea Bolters, and you just try to replace it with the exact same things. I found this to be quite good, actually. I have a ton of fun playing this one. This is actually the list I've been playing the most in the last month. I played this at the Chicago, side event, and I've been playing this in the league that means nothing. They actually published a game of mine today, so if you're interested in watching Olympia versus KO, you could check that out on Go Again Gaming, his YouTube channel. You could probably just Google the league that means nothing season 3, and you could find that. But yeah, this has been good fun. Okay, so I think we could close some of these tabs. We don't need all these. So yeah, that's kind of the state of things. Everything is really going to change in the next set. But if you are going to play some warrior until then, you have quite a few choices, actually. I mean, right now, I think people are kind of, in their holiday mood, so people aren't really grinding that hard. There is a battle hardened in Atlanta. I'll probably just take whatever I find fun to go play at that. And there really isn't any major events until I think until after the Hunted releases, right? Yeah, so coming up on the docket, we have Battle Hardened Hong Kong and Atlanta. So because these are overlapping, what's going to happen with the Battle Hardened Hong Kong situation is they're going to record the matches for Nathan and I, and then Nathan and I are going to spend a stream commentating the Hong Kong Battle Hardened for you guys. There's Battle Hardened Toronto, yeah. So just a couple more events. Calling Prague, going to be the world premiere, and then calling Memphis. This is interesting because this is going to be a double calling. So, and this is the first look at the new set. So this will be good. But right now, I think you could play any of these warriors, have some good fun. Speaking of playing warriors and having fun, that's what we're going to do now. So for those of you who are paying attention to the Dorinthia hotness, you will recognize that this list is Marcus's Domblay Dory list that he took to Worlds. Did very, very well. I think he went undefeated in the first CC portion. I think he went 7-2 in CCs at Worlds, which is, you know, very, very solid. This is a no messing around Domblade Dorinthia list. There are no attack actions. There's no Jubil. There's no CYBs in the sideboard. This is how you guys can tell that this is a really serious Domblade list. It has Glistening and Ironsong Determination, right? So yeah, we're gonna take this out for a couple spins to wrap up the year. I never even thought of playing Saber's Olympia and then putting in a fresh courage after using one. I think Saber's Olympia is just better than Hatchet's Olympia right now. Unsheathed is a big difference, and against most decks in the game, you're not losing value. You're like, oh, but Josh, Hatchet of Body into Hatchet of Mind is 2 and 3, and then Saber is only 2 and 2. Well, if you attach on hits to them, they're probably going to block, so it's going to be 3. So, yeah. All right, play some games with this. If you guys in chat have any lists that you want me to play, why not? I could play some of the community lists as well. You have to message me on Discord though. I don't think YouTube is gonna play nice with links, so yeah. If you guys in chat have any lists that you want me to play, I'll play a couple of those. I was recently talking with Marcus, so I was like, you know what? Let me play your list on stream. All right. Let's play some games. Gotta wrap up the year, right? A Dory mirror. Oh boy. Oh boy. It's been a while since I played a Dory mirror. All right. I think we just bring in our sinks, and we probably don't need I think our blue count is, I don't think we could cut any blues. I don't mind running a little bit higher than 60 in the mirror. So I think we'll just, you know, bring in the cards that kind of make sense. All right, let's go have some fun. All right. Need to make sure my sound is working. Let's see. All right. How come Talishar's not making any sounds? Did they turn off the sounds on Talishar? I haven't played on Talishar in a while. Okay. So I kind of just want to block 9 here. We get punished by Singing Steelblade, but yeah, I think that is the safe play. We actually could also block for an extra one. We only get blown out by I mean, we get oh, I can hear the things now. Okay, we get blown out, but if he has a attack action, or literally Singing Steelblade with another go again. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's actually fine to just block with the whole hand. If he has a route or overpower, we also get blown out here. Sigil, sure. Okay. So of note, Marcus's build does not have Tunic, so I'm anticipating this Dory, because it ran so many cards and has Sigil, that is running Shunt. So this could be really difficult. Like, I actually kind of just want to swing. But The Dorinthia mirrors in the past used to be very stable, but nowadays it is way more volatile because of cards like Glistening Steelblade and just the builds, right? This build is built to bully Rune Blades and have a chance against Enigma. This deck list is not built for the mirror or for Guardians and stuff like that. All right, let's see if we could get lucky with the Blade Flurry. We did not. We will just Arsenal this. I don't. There's some merit to playing this out because it doesn't combine well with this. Our opponent brought in so many cards that I'm kind of worried. Huh. Normally, I would have played that out, but I think we might have some issues with threat density. All right, this hand's quite good, so I think we are just going to say no blocks. Kind of go from there. And he's going to play out a Sigil, I presume. Or... So he IP'd himself, which means he probably has 2 defensive cards in hand. I mean, our play is still very straightforward, though. It's still going to be lead with speed into this, and then we're going to probably grab Glint. Very unlikely that this hits, but we only really have one play line. His Tunic's still at 2, but I anticipate this is a defensive card and that he has a defensive card in hand. And he might try to deny Reprise by blocking here and then Shunt from Arsenal. But looks like he's going to give us Reprise. If we don't give this go again now, he might actually just say... well, let's just say... Yeah, Fate from Arsenal, sure. That's a bad sign. He's on Sync Fate and probably on Shunt because of his Tunic. Okay, so very unlikely that the Singing Steelblade works, but we're still going to go for it. I'm going to push it over by 1. We're going to go grab Glint. Which, oh my god, do we not... Okay. That's a mistake. We blocked the Glint early, and we used the Glint, and then we've just pitched the Glint. Uh-oh. Oops. Well, I guess we'll go Puncture and make him have at least go over by 5, I guess. Guess we'll blow our boots. Actually, we don't have to blow our boots here, but we'll see. Quick, somebody find a Hatch Boltyn list. I'm hearing the sounds. Yep. Huge deck alert. Yes. I don't know what I'd use as a chest for Dory since I don't have greens or Tunic. Courage of Blade Holds is fine. Do we want to blow our boots? He still has... I mean, we didn't Blade Flurry. This is an awful arsenal, though. I want to get the value out of the boots. I forgot I didn't have another Glint. Ugh. He has a D-React in hand. That's the issue, so... I'm not going to blow boots. I'm just going to take this as a crown target. It's very rare that I Singing Steelblade on turn 2 and I don't have a Glint. This hand's not good. I mean, with the Twinning Blade, it's decent, but we don't have a pump. I mean, we technically do. This hand's actually okay with the overpower and the agility. I think we could just say no blocks here. If he plays like a run through, we'll play the Sink Blow, but... Okay, Blade Flurry. Okay. So this could be him trying to bait me with Glint, but I'm just going to say sure. If he blows boots here, I'll be really surprised. He did blow boots. Interesting. I think we don't actually need the twinning blade, which is interesting. We actually don't even need the twinning blade, which is really interesting. We have a blue to pay for our turn. We have a blue for our overpower. And we can arse the sink below. Blocking with the twinning blade when we have an agility does kind of feel wrong, but I think with this very particular hand, it's fine. We'll use the armor to deny a counter. So I do not agree with how he used his boots there at all. Okay, we'll go like that because we already have go again. Okay, so he could deny reprise with armor, but I somehow don't think he will. Even if he does, we can still get over it. Okay, so obviously this does get shut down by a 0 for 4 D-React, but is what it is. Okay, so he drew it. Sure, that's fine. That is fine. We will arsenal. Okay, this hand's excellent. Okay. 2 reds. And did he sink? He did sink and still didn't find it. So he blocked with these two, sank, so he doesn't have anything here. All right, so I mean, we don't need all these cards as a thing. I mean, this is strictly better than this when we have this. So he still has access to 7 block though. So if I this is getting 4 value because it blocks the Iron Song verses. So if this is a D-React, he can actually... Like, I'm deciding whether to keep this as like an expensive sharpened steel. I don't think it's correct to keep it as an expensive sharpened steel. So we'll just block a bit. Okay, so we're just going to play all these out. If he throws his armor or he has a D-Reacted arsenal, we're going to get shut down, but it is what it is. Sometimes you don't draw things in the correct order. Grains is 56. Not that that's bad. Wonder if it might be better for Fang than Furnace. I don't think Fang's going to have a lot of resources to dump into things. Oh my god, this guy's playing That's All You Got as well. This list looks very defensive. Okay. Okay, D-React from Arsenal. Oasis from... Guys, I have 3 Sync belows. This guy has Sync, Fate, That's All You Got, Sigil, Oasis. Oh boy. Oh boy. This is gonna be hard. I'm up for the challenge, but this is gonna be hard. Alright, so I mean, this hand's a classic no block. Now, do we sync the sync? That's actually... I think we don't. We kind of bluffed that our hand is like godly. And it is pretty good. I have a feeling it's another D-React though. That's the issue. So this is the type of game where things are going to be hard because we're behind just by deck build. So we have to play near perfectly here. That was from hand. That means he has one in arsenal probably. What? Tunic Oasis, sure. Okay. So we need to keep very close count, right? So 2 Fates, a Sync, 2 Oasis. Like, okay, so basically we're treating this like Dorinthia versus Oldham or something. We're playing against a Guardian. Okay, this hand's very good because Twinning Blade's quite nice, and the hit and run is really nice. Ooh, I like that. Okay, so this hand's actually really interesting because it costs nothing to play any of these, and we have the potential to hit 3 times. Now, we don't have an attack react is the issue, but here I kind of just want to block with these. So I'm pitch a glint. Like, my armor doesn't matter as much against this style of Dory. I think like this is just want to deny the Ironsong versus. Plus, we'll get some information if he like plays puncture or something. Okay, so he's going to arsenal that card, sure. All right, so we'll go unsheathed. We do need to keep very close eye on our threat density because we do have less cards than him. Okay, so we'll Twinning Blade into a hit and run swing, and that's going to force him to give us armor or have a direct. Oh, oh, sorry. I did something wrong, I think. We need to go back to the previous turn. Sorry. My bad. Yeah. Okay. Wait. Oh! I've been playing too much with Quicksilver Prodigy. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. I've been playing too much with Olympia and Quicksilver Prodigy. This does not give go again unless it's +4. I'm an idiot. Oh my god. Bad, Josh. Bad. Bad, bad, bad. I was like, why is my turnover? All right, he pitched it. That's all you got. Sure. No. That's all right. We're going to fight from a losing position then. That's just how it is. So he pitched it. That's all you got. So he likely has another D-React ready. If only Unsheathed was that good. Yeah, Jesus. Dude, I've been playing Unsheathed so much with 2 power weapons. It's so good. All right, let's see if we can come back from a deficit. Do we want a Vigor or a Bracer? I mean, either way, he has to give me armor. So I think we just make a Vigor. Because he doesn't have a D-React. Unless this guy's like on the next level. All right, let's see if we can come back from a deck disadvantage and a misplay. All right, let's see if anybody sent me a list on Discord. Also. Oh, he's going to give it to me. Sure, we'll take it. So he probably has a supremacy. That's what it's telling me. All right. Okay. Nobody's messaged me on Discord yet. Okay, cool. All right, glistening into swing. So because we have a D-React, I think the correct decision is to give him one card. And with a Vigor and a Singing Steel Blade, we can protect our counter pretty easily, although he still has access to 4 armor. I think we just give him one card. Because he was willing to give us a counter, which means his hand is probably decent. Give him Reprise. See what he does. Hopefully this is not like a overpower or anything. Okay. Okay, sure. Okay. So if he wants to attack again, he has to pitch this card. We don't even want to give him a counter, so I think we just play this. And we have one twinning here, so we need to sink our twinning blade into the deck. We need to keep this around. Because what we're trying to do is set up a triple hit combo with our bolters. So we put this back into the deck. Not the greatest. We're going to have to hope we get Reprise on the next turn. Into Warmongers. Interesting. Well, Dorinthia is not a peaceful woman. All right, I think he also chose War. Yep. Now, he has a pretty high incentive to deny or to get my counter off. So now I don't think Marcus's list runs any overpowers. Let me quickly take a look at his list again. So yeah, I'm probably just going to grab a pump. Okay, so he's blocked with 2 cards, and he's thinking on another card. So he doesn't have a D-React, obviously. Dory's a very stabby, slashy girl. That's correct. All right, so he's thinking on his other block, I think. Okay, so he's committing 9, which is a lot. So I think we route the Out for Blood back to his hand, I think is the play. Please tell me I still have my route. Yeah. Okay. So the only other option is Glint and then hope we hit the Winning Blade, which is, I don't want to take that line. Could also go Singing into Response into Response is also fine, but then we lose the Singing. I think we just grab a route here. His turn sucks. He's blocking with all these cards. Singing into Red Iron Song into this is actually over by 1, which is fine. Lose all of our Singing Steel Blades. Let's just grab the route. This is easier. All right, we hand him back the Out for Blood, obviously. And we pass party. And no. Arsenal this. And maybe Crown next turn, depending on what we draw. Because right now we have a counter. We know he doesn't have a D-React, which is good. He's incentivized to at least swing at us, so we're going to get to block with this. Going to versus into swing? No? Oh, he can't. He can't versus into swing because he's under war. Okay, so this is a great time to cash this in and hopefully grab a blue. If we could grab a blue, we can actually go glistening, which is nice. Although we get denied by this. I think we still have to go for it. I think we're going to play Spoils of War next turn. Okay. Uh, hmm. Okay, so I guess we're going Warriors Valor next turn into swing. And we're going to go from there. All right, good thing Glistening Steel Blades are yellow. All right, still coming in for a breakpoint. Nature's Path Pilgrimage. Wow, OG card there. Okay, so our opponent hasn't drawn a D-React in a while, I think. JK. Okay. Guys, this guy has Red Shunts, Oasis, Sync, Fate. That's all you got. This is gonna be freaking hard. Oh boy. We're also getting low on cards. All right, that's okay. This hand is actually pretty good. So this hand is actually very, very acceptable. This hand cycles into the next hand very good if we can do this. Also, us being more aggressive is slowly getting us cards back. Although he did go first, he has a bigger deck, and he is playing shunts, so... With War, you can't activate equipment either? Yep. My wife and I were just spitballing on an idea of Olympia with parry blades that transitions into an axe build with Visit the Golden Anvil. You need a Golden Anvil for 6 then, which is a lot. So I don't know. Okay. Exact blocking, indicating he probably has a D-React for me. Okay. All right, we're going to Arsenal this out for blood. Okay, this hand's great. Yep, we are not blocking. So again, we need to use our life as a resource. This hand's really good. This hand's really good because we have a +5. The issue is that we are going to be coming in for 5. So that's... He could block 6 on our 5. That might be what's going to happen. I think we probably have to grab Glint if we get Reprisal Singing. If he blocks 6, we're actually kind of in danger. So he has 2 more 0 for 4 D-Reacts. He's blocking 9. Oh, shit. Okay, so we can go to 10. Which I think is what we're going to do. If he has a D-React, so be it. We're going to have to use our boots here. It's a good card to draw. Do we want to use Make a Vigor? Let's see. Our attack is coming in for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So making it 12 is useless. So let's make a Vigor. He overblocked, again, indication that he doesn't have a D-React. Yeah, he's not coming in. He's not blocking 11 here. Okay, so we're going to... So that is how you use your boots, boys. That's a good arsenal. This also smooths out our next turn if we don't draw a red. Or we don't draw a blue, sorry. Oh, look at that. That's a good turn. This is good. Okay, so If we go Glistening Swing, he can't deny us reprise. He's gonna block from hand. This costs 1. This costs 1. This costs 3. I think we have to go. We don't have enough resources. We have to go spoils. And then pitch that. Okay. So here we're going to overpower. I think we just hold the Blade Flare for the next turn. This also, if he has a D-React, yeah, okay. Doesn't get massively blown out. Okay, sure. Okay, that's fine. Pass the turn to him. Our counter goes away. All right. I think we have to go Valor because we have too many resources. I think we're going to get fatigued, but we're going to try to make it close. Okay, he's out of Fates. Still has 1 sync. Could have another Shunt. Could have the That's All You Got somewhere. Could have an Oasis somewhere. No blocks from him. Sure. Oasis or Shunt. This is why we're not using our Blade Flare yet, because if this is the Shunt, yeah, okay. Sure. Sure, your turn. Ooh, Unsheathed with Courage, gonna be real good here. All right, so I think we have to block here and here, I think. I don't know if we really... Our hand gets blown out pretty bad by D-React in Arsenal. And he's been keeping his Arsenal. I think he has another D-React in Arsenal. So we can't really keep this hand. I think we this and then sink something. If this is a defensive card, then unless this is a 0-cost offensive card, we don't get blown out. Oh, Puncture from Arsenal. Okay. Sure. I did not expect that. Okay, pitch your other card. That's all you got. So he has 2 That's All You Gots in his deck right now. I think I have to keep this hand, so we'll just give him a counter. Plus, he's incentivized to attack us once he has a counter, so. All right. Game is hard. Game is hard. No red Shunt, please. Okay. And he pitched a Sigil for that. Okay. Sure. Well, I don't want to keep this hand, but I think we have to. Our threat density is so low, we have to just have to keep it. What you guys in chat think about this game so far? I've been trying my best, but when their deck is built like a guardian, it's game is hard. Ironically, I think my CYB Jubil list would actually be fine because I would have access to Overpower and Route. Sure. Take 3. We might be racing here. We are racing. Interesting. Very interesting. That's very interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna bluff that I have a 0 cost in my hand. Yeah. He didn't block the first attack. He's not gonna block the second attack. So he just gave us 3 counters in 1 turn because I read him. All right, Arsenal this. Okay, this hand's good. We're not blocking this turn. We're just going. I don't think we can die from 14, but well, it's time to be brave. No blocks. I think we're just going to throw our grains and maybe one of our cards. Now we can die here is the issue. Okay, so 2 cards. We haven't seen him play a route, so it could be a route here. But overblocking doesn't help us win the game. So I think we just throw the Sharpened Steel in this. And we just play with these 4. Now, do we even need 2 attack reacts is the question. I think we do. If we block 4, take 1. We die to Overpower and we die to Route if we block 4. If he overpowers to 11, we lose. If he routes our Sharpened Steel, we lose. If he has Singing Steelblade into Route, we lose. He gave us 3 counters. It's very likely he has one of those. Where is his Singing Steelblades? The right play might be to block here. If I block 6, do I die to... I don't know. He gave us 3 counters. He has to have one of those, right? Double Out for Blood is still +6. Okay. We would have died if we didn't do this. Okay. Now we don't have Go Again as the issue now. But he still has to throw his whole hand down. Oh, he has a D-React. He has a D-React. Oh, no. I have 3 Dawnblade counters and you're 11 life up. Of course you throw your whole hand here. And then you Tunic swing back. That's the correct play. opponent's build is like an anti-mirror. Yeah. The correct play was to block with 2 cards. Yes, and that's what I did. If this was an IRL game, I would probably have a better read on what it was. So he's playing around a Blade Flurry? Interesting. Well, that was unnecessary. He didn't have to block with his armor. We're going to lose from here. I don't think there's much I could have done. This is one of those, I mean, he literally has 3 red shunts, 3 sink belows, 3 fate for scenes, 3 that's all you got, 3 oasis, turn 0 sigil. Do I puncture here? I don't think I do. This is a very old way of building Dorinthia. This guy may not have Singing Steelblade in his deck, now that I think about it. He doesn't have Iron Song Response either in his deck. Very interesting. Huh. Well, I don't know what to do. He has to have an attack react, right? No? Alright, just trying to run me out of cards. That's what he's trying to do, I guess. I mean, I think I still have a glint in my deck, so... I think he has a that's all you got is the issue. No. Sweet. Janet, please. Shunt is such an efficient card in the mirror. I think if he had just the D-Reacts, I might have had a chance, but with Oasis and Shunt and Tunic, it's just too high efficiency. Yeah, we'll just put him to 3. He still doesn't get his Oasis health gain, so... Huh. Well, we don't win by overblocking. We should know his pitch stack by now. I wasn't paying close enough attention. I mean, he probably has a glint or singing in hand. Probably a glint. He didn't even have glint in his graveyard. What is going on? Block 3, die to any attack react. Like blue overpower, sure. Alright, good game. Yeah, he did not have any Iron Song Response or Singing Steelblade. And this was still 1, 2, 3. This was still 75 cards? What the hell? Oh, these 2 are in the graveyard, right? Oh, no, it's not. Oh, this one is. Okay. This is blocking. So he has 54 here. 55, 56, 57. Okay. So literally he brought in every card in his deck, his equipment, and then I presume he has like a null rune. He doesn't have Singing Steelblade or Iron Song Response in his deck. This deck is either like ultra modern or yeah, he has one glint. What the hell is no two? He has glints here. What? This is a bizarre deck. It's actually very interesting, actually. It's actually very interesting. He was running 74 cards and the equipment, and then I presume he has a null rune. This deck is like ultra tuned to beat Rune Blades, maybe? No Singing Steelblade. No Twinning Blade. No Iron Song Response. Nature's Path Pilgrimage is also very, very interesting. Because this is on-hit draw card, basically. Very interesting. I mean... Okay, so... we lost because this guy's deck build is very good against our deck build. But... we also got to look at something that I've never seen before. No Twinning Blade. No Singing Steelblade. No Iron Song Response. All the generic D-Reacts, the class D-React, Shunt, Sigil, Last Ditch Effort. This deck is built to fatigue Rune Blades. Huh. Very interesting. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. No Iron Song Determination. Playing Glistening, though. Only one Glistening Steelblade in the deck? This is a weird deck list, guys. One Glistening Steelblade can't be right. Can it? Very interesting. Very interesting. All right. Well, Marcus, sorry I couldn't get you a win with this. All right. I think I'll play another game or two. You guys got any Hatchet Boltyn list for me yet? All right. If you guys have a list that you want me to play, you can DM me on Discord and I will play it. I will be back in 2 minutes, okay? I will BRB. All right, I'm back. Ah, Andy, nice to see you here. Happy New Year to you as well. It's only 10:16 here in Alabama, but it will be midnight soon enough. You do, but you're not in the Discord. You can message me on the purple Discord as well, I think. You can direct DM me there. I wonder if I just change one of the settings here. Let's see. Huh. I think if I add you as a moderator, maybe you'll be able to paste links. I don't know. Just DM me on the purple Discord. It's fine. I This guy single-handedly stunlocked Josh. Yes. When someone cooks you with a weird deck and you start to take notes, yes. I I have not I have not been stun locked like that in a while. And part of it is because it's like a warrior deck that surprised me. Like I don't get surprised by warrior decks, and that deck actually surprised me. I'm like, hold on. No twitting, no singing, no response. I mean, if you're not playing tricky, those aren't good cards, so yeah, it makes sense. Huh. Very interesting. Write this down. Write this down. Write this down. That matchup looked annoying, but I'm still interested in that deck, yeah. Yes, that was very interesting. The first tip-off should have been seeing this. This is sorry. This is already like unusual, right? Not sure why Dauntless is there, but he had it there, right? I almost just auto default. Oh, you guys can't see what I'm doing here. I almost auto defaulted to just clicking on this because, like, of course you run Iron Star Response. Very interesting. Can't remember everything that he had, but you know, I think this is somewhat close. The Unsheathed with the Courage token really lines up well. He had like no yellows, right, in his deck, basically. He had a glistening, but I'm not going to put that there. He did not have any yellows, which is interesting. Huh. Very interesting. I think he had blue responses, but I can't remember. Just trying to get a feel for the deck. He had blue Alpha Bloods for sure. This wasn't planned, but I'm intrigued enough to I want to look at this at least. How's the league that means nothing coming along? I'm liking the Olympia gameplay. They just released this week 2 match that I had with Olympia versus KO. I think that was pretty good. You might enjoy that one. This is almost like Kasai, but front pumps. I don't think I emulated this quite correct, but it's all red and yellow, which is or red and blue, which is very interesting. This is kind of bait bladey. It's bait blade in the other way. Interesting. Well, I don't know. We might just leave it there, I guess. All right, guys. I think we might just kind of wrap things up before all the fireworks start going off outside. You guys have any New Year's resolutions for the coming year in terms of Flesh and Blood? So, part of the reason why I wanted to start this stream tonight was because Nathan streamed 36 times this year. And I streamed 35 times this year. And I was like, I'm not going to let Nathan beat me. We're going to have a tie. So, I've streamed... Yeah, he had last-ditch effort. I got to put that in. So, Nathan and I both streamed 36 times this year. Like individual streams. So that's about 70% of the time. So I think that's roughly, I think that's a good goal to have. I feel like streaming about 2/3 of the time would be good. We're going to try to finish up the A to Z series as well on the channel. We also have a couple other things going on the channel. Little sneak peek. We have an updated 2024 challenge coins. Let me see if I can pull up a visual for you guys. All right. Yep. All right. So these are the 2025 TheCardGuyz challenge coins that are coming out for the calling Memphis and going forward. I printed 50 of each of these. So obviously this one up here, JL, that's mine. Ed's with Mangle, Nathan's with CMH, Taylor with Sigil Brilliance, Aaron's with the alternate Sigil Spectral Shield, sorry, and Will's is Illuminaris. So how can you win one of these? Well, if you play a card guy in the Flesh and Blood before the game, you can say, I would like to challenge you. And we will put a poker chip on the table. If you win, you get the poker chip. Just that simple. What can you do with these poker chips? Well, you can use them as arsenal protectors. That is what I like to do with them. Well, we'll probably have some fun thing involving, like, if you can get all 6 of them. That's kind of how Ed joined the team, is he got all of our Series 1 challenge coins, so. Yep, so this is something to look forward to in 2025. I think we're going to do a little bit more with merch as well. So there's a lot of things that we've been working on behind the scenes. Just trying to, yeah. So I can never get one of these, as I'll never win. Well, we do play side events as well and casual games. You could challenge my Olympia. I won't mind. I remember I was playing Boltyn and I got challenged by Icelander a lot. So yeah. These poker chips coming pretty soon. Real life wager, as Andy said. Yep. All right. Well, I guess most people are kind of, out and about doing stuff on the New Year's Day. So, well, I don't know. I'm kind of running out of things to say, and I'm not the type of guy that likes to yap for no reason. So, I think I'll get out of here. I wish everybody here in chat a happy new year. Looking forward to the Hunted. Card Guy spoilers will be coming out mid-January. Of course, we're going to make lots of videos on the new content. And, I'll be streaming the next couple weeks on Tuesdays. So hope to see you guys here next week. This weekend, I am going to the Battle Hardened in Atlanta. So that should be quite fun. Hope that you guys can, if you're going to Atlanta, say hi to me. That'd be cool. If you're not going to Atlanta, there probably is a stream there, and we also will be recording the Hong Kong Battle Hardened, and Nathan and I will be casting that in the coming week or so. So yeah, should be good. Should be good. Josh, do you think Iron Song Pride is a good card against Florian? I don't know how to improve my deck against him. The issue with Florian is that he has a lot of defensive tools, even built into his armor is the thing. But he also has some of the most disruptive cards, right? Felling of the Crown, Plow Under. I mean, you don't get to play with a 5-card hand, which makes it really hard to break through. So the number one card that helps in that matchup is Dauntless. Red, maybe even blue if you're running, if you want to go crazy, because he doesn't run Tunic. So Dauntless really cuts down on his hand efficiency. Iron Song Pride is fine, but he does have access to Well Grounded, which basically gives him a 2 block at at instant speed. So I think I would just be focusing more on trying to combine Blade Flurry with +3 pumps, so you have a +5. I think that's really good. Other than that, you aren't really blocking much in that matchup. Yeah, I would also recommend not arseling too many things, because Plow Under is a bitch. So all right, for the final time of 2024, this has been Josh Lau with TheCardGuyz. See you later.